wild edibles exist all around us in our parks, forests, even in our own backyards. Not only do they taste fresh and delicious, they're also free. Here with tips on foraging is chef and owner of Creemore, Ontario's Mad Maple Country Inn, Miriam Streiman. It's always good to have you here.
So happy to be here.
So you've been out, you've been foraging with some help. Tell us a little bit about that and what that entails.
Well, foraging is when you go out and explore the landscape and discover all of the delicious wild edibles that can inspire delicious dishes. And at Mad Maple, we work really closely with Jonathan Forbes of Forbes Wild Foods, who's our forager. And working with him, we have learned so much about what the bounty of the forest has to offer.
And what a bounty there is. Hundreds of varieties of different things. And look at the setup you have here. And I'm looking at the mushrooms first, because mushrooms are one of those foods, you know, that you always read, you've got to be careful of what you pick, and how do you know what's okay and what's dangerous?
Absolutely. And there are certain mushrooms that after a lot of experience that you'll be able to recognize them, but definitely if you're not sure, don't touch them and stay away from them. And that's why, just like it's really important to work closely with your farmer, it's really important to work closely with a local forager that understands what's safe and what's not safe, how to harvest it, and also the sustainable aspects of harvesting. For example, wild leeks, fiddleheads, wild ginger. You have to really be cautious and be responsible as a forager and only harvest a certain portion of what is available to ensure that it's going to come back next year.
You want the sustainability.
Absolutely, absolutely.
You mentioned the fiddleheads. Let's look at this gorgeous dish over here if you can, and we're showing the fiddleheads here. You've got egg going on and greens.
Yes. So this is definitely typical of a Mad Maple breakfast experience, and just like, you know, with the seasons, the rhythm of the seasons with what you have from the farms, I like to incorporate what is available in our forest, what's available in spring. So right now, asparagus, amazing, available. And so with asparagus and fiddleheads, I made a ramp butter. So ramps or wild leeks, which is what these delicious beauties are. Very potent, almost a sweet oniony flavor, and very, very precious. And so with some beautiful fresh butter in a food processor, you can just mix, blend some butter with your ramps or wild garlic, as we have here, and then keep this in your fridge and then use it as you would with other butter and savory applications. And so that's what we did here. And then there's some smoked trout, also fished off of Georgian Bay, right by Mad Maple, that we smoked.
Fresh.
Yes, that we smoked with some spruce as well. So it's not just what you can eat, but accenting those flavors of the dishes as well.
When it comes to the wild edibles compared to, you know, the commercial stuff, what's the difference in the taste? I mean, obviously it looks beautiful, but how does it taste?
I think that there really is an inherent flavor of being closer to nature. There's a potency, there's a spiciness, there's an aromatic to it that you really are connecting with your landscape, and it can really inspire and really elevate a dish to the next level rather than being something that's kind of standard, and can add that little bit of finesse and nuance.
I want to draw people's attention to the ginger over here, because I said to Miriam, I didn't recognize it because I've always seen the dried variety.
Absolutely.
But this is ginger that has been foraged.
Yes.
And not only that, you can make ginger ale. You've got a recipe for kind of homemade ginger ale.
Absolutely. So one of my favorites, so at Mad Maple, we have an abundance of wild ginger, which we're very careful about how much we harvest as well. So for today, and last season I learned about doing this. So you take the wild ginger and you clean it and you make a simple syrup with water and sugar, and then you add the wild ginger, which makes this really potent, sweet and spicy infusion.
It smells so good.
Oh my goodness.
I love ginger. It smells so good.
Yeah.
So you just put that into a glass.
Yeah.
So it is a syrup.
It's a syrup, so you could pour this over ice cream, you could pour this over yogurt, you could add it in a dressing, in a vinaigrette as well.
And how do you store it, Miriam?
In the fridge.
Just in the fridge, okay.
I store it in the fridge, yep. And then we can just add some of our soda water over here.
And voila.
And voila.
Homemade ginger ale.
A little stir. And then, absolutely, if you want to.
I will.
Yeah.
I will. I'm also eyeing those cookies over
Yes.
there that have a bit of this.
Yes,
right,
so this is also, and we can make a choke cherry, which is coming on a little bit later in the season, but a choke cherry syrup. So choke cherries, the cherries, wild cherries that are available, and making a syrup from those.
That's great. And you put a little bit of that syrup on these cookies here, which look delectable.
Yes.
Listen, thank you so much for taking us through this. Just a gorgeous setup. Learned a lot about foraging and how we can use those edibles. Thank you, Miriam.
Thank you.
Great to have you here. You'll find today's recipes on our website. We'll be right back.